Hi. How are you all today? I am starting to get really cold. We had such a beautiful day here in Middle Tennessee yesterday. It got up to 60 degrees. And now today it was supposed to stay up around 50, but we have had cloud cover and we've had what I call spritzing. It's kind of a step up from a mist. It's a little bit more intense. And yeah, so we're getting ready for this cold front to come in to Middle Tennessee, and actually quite a bit of the entirety of the southeastern part of our country. It's going to go through a very, very deep cold spell. And yeah, we've been warned by our severe weather folks around here that it's going to be cold. It's going to drop below freezing tonight, and it's not going to come back up until like Thursday. So, brr. But as I said yesterday, this is winter. That's what it's all about. So, because of all the spritzing and the misting and all the other stuff that's been going on, I'm wearing my hat. It's actually my LaNay's hat, but I couldn't take my hair anymore today. It's just been enough moisture that it's it's really poofing out everywhere. But it's just old woman hair, and I didn't really think that existed, but it does. Anyway, so we'll just have a different look today. Is what I have going on. Anywho, like I said, I hope you all are having a blessed day. I'm out here doing my food deliveries. I'm really not looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be very cold. I'm going to have to figure out something extra warm to wear, I believe, or maybe layers. And, I'll survive it. If it's not raining, well, they did say a little bit ago that we're supposed to get some snow. So, if I'm not getting wet, I should be okay. But we'll just have to see what happens. Take it one moment at a time, which is actually a great segue, because that's what the grief journey is all about, is taking it one moment at a time. Some people can manage to take it one day at a time. Some people can manage to take it 1 hour at a time. I just take it one tiny little moment at a time, because you just never know what the day's going to bring. And, like I was talking about in my last video, it's just, or like the gut punch video, I should say, it can come out of nowhere when you least expect it. So that's why you just have to take it bit by bit. And sometimes that's annoying to some people. And I think that kind of is one of the reasons why people disappear out of your life when you're going through something like this. And I've read some really horrible, horrible stories of people who are going through a really tough time on their grief journey, and they have very little support from family and friends, because most people honestly believe that they should, be getting better. And sometimes you read things like that. I just was reading some posts on a different social media platform, and they're encouraging this this attitude of you will survive this, and you have an obligation to your loved one to survive this grief journey, and it will get better, and it just I'm not saying it verbatim, and perhaps that's not fair, but the thing is that I read that all the time. You hear that from people. It's like, oh, it'll get better with time. You just have to give it some time. Time? How much time? I think that's one of the most absurd things that we can tell someone when they're in the middle of the grief path and or journey. And I'll tell you, it kind of really incenses me. And I've read stories about people who have, not said another word to that person ever again, and they could have been a very close friend. It's damaging to the person who's going through the grief. It's damaging to your soul. It's damaging to your heart, because there's no timetable for grief. There just isn't. And you should never expect anyone to have a timetable, because it's a choppy mess. And 1 minute you can be smiling about something, and the next minute it can bring you to your knees with memories and of your lost loved one, and like I said, a gut punch. So I think we need, as a society at large, not just probably in your own community, but you can ask yourself this if you're going through it. I think we all need to have a much better understanding of what grief is all about. And I know that 98% of that statement can only become truthful if in fact you are dealing with it. If you're having to go through and you're on your own grief journey, are you ever going to understand what it's like? And everybody is going to have, as we've said, or I've said multiple times, everyone's on their own path. There's no two people who are going to grieve the same way, even over the same person. But I think we have a responsibility to each other to help each other through those times, and to help other people who haven't gone through it understand what you need from them. And it's not easy. So I just think that we have to have more dialogue about it, and we have to educate people a lot better about what it's like to be the friend or a loved one or a family member of someone who has lost someone so significant in their life that they're struggling. And I've heard some fantastic stories of people that just know how to do it, that just show up at someone's house. Maybe they bring them Starbucks, or I probably should say coffee instead of a brand name, but they bring them some coffee, or they bring them, breakfast, and they just hold their hand and sit down and say, "Tell me how you're doing." Because we need to avoid having that conversation. I mean, if somebody were to bring me breakfast and sit down at the table and look at me and say, "How are you feeling? What has been going on? How are things going? Talk to me. Tell me what has been happening." Or, "Let's talk about LaNay. What do you miss most about her?" Anything. I will talk about my daughter until I'm blue in the face, because that's not hurting me. That's not making me more upset. And my response to a question like that, "What do you miss most about her?" I couldn't just say everything. I would have to be specific. I would have to say her smile, her sense of humor, how her eyes would get more almond shaped when she was laughing, and when she was bringing joy into our lives. I miss her feistiness. I miss her passion. I miss the side of her that would stand up for her beliefs. And I miss the soft side of her. I miss the little girl who always wanted to cuddle and snuggle. Always wanted to come up and hug my neck and give me a kiss and tell me that she loved me. It's endless, but it's so nice to even right now say all of those things to all of you, because those are some of the things that I miss the most. She had a snarky sense of humor, and she knew how to get her way when she wanted something. We just want to be able to talk about them, don't we? I mean, have any of you ever felt like you couldn't really talk about your lost loved one? Maybe you're really fortunate and you have family members who will do that for you, or a good friend or a best friend. And they won't make a judgment on you. That's the other thing. Don't judge me. It's been just shy of 1.5 years. In February, it'll be 1.5 years since I lost her. I don't sleep at night any better than I did the night I came home from the hospital. A lot of my lack of enthusiasm is because she's not here and I can't share it with her. And I don't know where my life will go. I feel guilty because I'm still here and she's not. So I hold back on doing certain things. And people will bring judgment against that. They'll say, you have to find joy in your life. Well, no, I don't. And I don't have any intention of even trying to get over this. Because it's not something I'm going to get over. So I think that this is just, like I said, if there's somebody that you can talk to about this and explain to them what you need, and it might be different for different people. Well, it's going to be. You might just need somebody who will just sit there with you and hold your hand, or just let you be silent, but be sitting there right next to you, supporting you. Maybe you need somebody to help you with your other kids if you have that situation going on. Or if you've lost a spouse and you're dealing with trying to figure out how you're going to go about it. Life, it's tough. It's super tough. And you just have to tell people what you need. I honestly believe that. And it's hard. It's hard to do that because you don't really want to impose on people. They have their lives. But if you need them, you need them. If it's a brother or a sister or a parent or your best friend, you need them. So you need to reach out to them and you need to tell them, I need you to help me with this. I need you to go to the grocery store for me. Some of these, like I said, some of these folks that I've talked to and read their stories, one of the nicest things ever was they had a friend that just went and had come to the house, and she didn't realize that her friend was in the kitchen, and she was going through her pantry and her refrigerator, and she was just noticing the things in the cupboards and just noticing things that she bought at the store. And then she set up kind of a weekly delivery for her for the first few weeks after her husband had passed away. And she was a young lady, and she had 2 small children. And she said, you can't even imagine. I didn't have to go to the grocery store. I didn't have to have that. That was one less burden that I had to bear. These groceries would arrive, every Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever she had it set up. And all she had to do was bring them inside and put them away. And just that little gesture, even if it was for a week, she exclaimed that she really did cherish the friendship that she had with this woman, because she just knew her so well. And not everybody has a best friend like that. I mean, my daughter is my best friend. And that's really all I have as far as someone that knows me like that. So it's hard, and I don't think we should ever, personally, I would never allow anyone to tell me how to grieve, or tell me that, I should be over it. And I would pity the person whoever would say something like that to me, because if I happen to be in a generous mood and a one that I could maybe overlook, then I might be okay. But there might be moods where I couldn't hold back, and I probably wouldn't. So that's what I mean. I think we all have this responsibility to understand what someone is going through and try very hard to help them through it and not push them through it. It's only going to create a distance between you and the person who's pushing. It's inevitable. And people need to understand that. I mean, like I said, grief is hard, and nobody ever really knows what to do. But I think an accumulation of thought is ask that person to talk about their lost loved one or friend or whatever important person it was. Get the story. Hear those words. We need to talk about them. On my grief page, I want to, or channel rather, not a page. I want you to tell me what your loved one's name was. I want you to share your story if you want. You can either put it in comments or you can send me an email. Whatever you would like to do. I would like to know the story. And we can take those stories, and we can, if you're willing and you have a desire to, we can share those. I can make a video and share your story, and maybe you can talk about the struggles that you have and the things that you're trying to get help with. I'm fortunate from the standpoint that I do have my Lauren, and we can sit down and we can talk on a regular basis about LaNay and how we're feeling. And oh my gosh, it's such a blessing. And sometimes I don't even have to say anything. It's just the look on my face, or if I start having one of my gut punch, scream fests, if it happens like that, she's always really good about putting everything else she's doing on hold and, coming to help me. So I am blessed, and I am very fortunate. Not everybody has that, but we can help each other, and we can come together as a community and find ways to support each other by just sharing our stories. But having said all of that, I would just really offer this suggestion that you do not have to grieve the same way somebody else does. And no one should be out there dictating to you what the best way of grieving is. Saying absurd things like, oh, you're holding your loved one back in heaven because you're so upset all the time. They can't enjoy themselves. They can't find the joy and the love that's in heaven. That's just hogwash. Now, I'm expressing my opinions here, and not everybody's going to agree, but don't say that to me. Don't tell me she's in a better place. I know heaven is amazing. I know that God saved her from all of the suffering that she was going through. But don't tell me she's in a better place. That's not a point of discussion. Don't even tell me that, grief will start to soften if you just let it. What? I know the edges get a little bit softer, but I'm not doing anything to make it harder. I am just experiencing it for what it is. No one should ever tell you to get over it. Those are horrible words. Absolutely horrible words. It's been long enough. To hell with you. You don't know what is too long, what's long enough, whatever. You don't have that right to make that judgment on me or anyone else. So figuring out how to deal with those people, like I said, one option is to tell them what you need from them. If they aren't the kind of person you would consider close and that you would want to have their support, I personally would just get up and walk away. I wouldn't even say anything. I wouldn't even honor a statement back to them. But that's how I feel. Anyway, I thank you so much for hanging out with me while I took a short break. I'm going to go out and deliver for a little bit longer and then head home. But I would sure love to see you all once again. Please consider subscribing if you're enjoying the content. Leave a comment. Let me know if there's something that you would like to hear me talk about. And by all means, if you are in the mood, if you hit that like button for me, all of those things, subscriptions, comments, likes, they're all going to help my little channel here to grow. And I'm really hoping that that's what's going to take place. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that we can get this going and have a good, strong community and help each other. Like I said, I have some ideas for down the road, but need to get some subscribers, and we need to get people coming in, and then we can start to develop it and see where we want to take it. I hope you have a very blessed weekend. I certainly hope that if you are in the southeastern part of the country, that you all are staying warm and safe, and just be careful. Keep the pipes, all the faucets dripping and your heat on so you don't burst those pipes, especially if you're in an apartment complex. Make sure your renter's insurance is up, or your homeowner's insurance is good too. Eek. But I'm so glad that you came by and watched another video. I appreciate that very, very much. So I will see you all at the next one. Take care.